Hello again, I am Blunty and this is Pokemon Alpha Sapphire, and in this video I'll be sharing with you what I've learned about a shiny Pokemon hunting technique that is unique to Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire called DexNav Hunting. It's new and easy and I tried it and it works. Now, if you saw my full review of PokemonORAS, you already know that my favourite new feature for this generation is the DexNav. It's awesome, the nifty little evolution of the Poke Radar that not only lets you target hunt for specific Pokemon, but also reveals Pokemon with up to 3 perfect IV stats, ones with special moves that can only usually be carefully bred onto them, even ones with rare and cool abilities. But there is another use for the DexNav that I've been exploring, and it's using it as a way to chain together encounters in order to hunt for a shiny Pokemon. Now let's roll back again. If you're super new to Pokemon, a shiny is a very rare variant of a Pokemon that features different colouring than normal. They're usually highly sought after because of their rarity and their aesthetic differences. Now, everything we know about DexNav chain hunting for shiny Pokemon has been revealed by our fellow dedicated Pokemon players, drawn from hard-earned experience, long hours, even days on end of experimenting and testing. And over the weekend, I myself tried it with repeated success, so I figure I'd pass on what I've learned. Here's how it works. The idea is to use the DexNav to repeatedly encounter your target Pokemon, then you must either capture or defeat that Pokemon, and then go on and search for another, and another, and another, building up an unbroken chain of encounters, and every 5th encounter in a chain you'll be met with a Pokemon that is 10 levels higher than the normal level for that area, and the Pokemon that follow that encounter will be 1 level higher than the default average for the area. This pattern will continue until it resets at 100 chained encounters. This is also a way you can track a successful chain and be sure you've not accidentally broken your chain without otherwise noticing. Now, of course, being able to deliberately trigger encounters with your target Pokemon specifically does make it a bit faster and easier to find a shiny over just relying on random encounters just by the nature of it. But the thinking from the community is, and experimentation seems to bear this out, the longer you keep a chain going, the better the odds become of a shiny encounter happening. Anecdotally, it does seem that once you get past a chain of 50 successful encounters, and then again at about 200, the odds get noticeably better. Some people say it's the DexNav itself which increases the shiny encounter rate. Some are convinced longer chains give you better odds. Either way, chaining up encounters targeting one specific Pokemon will make the hunt more efficient. From my own experience, this technique does seem to bear out. I was Twitch streaming my first dedicated shiny hunting expedition on Sunday, and I totally lucked out and caught a shiny Psyduck with this method in just 11 chained encounters. Very lucky, I was ecstatic. My second shiny later that same day was a shiny Skarmory, but that one took much more dedication. 7 more hours, in fact. It was a slog, although I did accidentally break my chain several times, which did set me back. 3 times at about 50 or 60-ish, and once, pathetically, at 9 chained encounters. But I did not give up, and I was rewarded for my stubbornness in the end. And it did indeed happen at just after 50 chained encounters. Okay, so let's talk about what you should avoid doing. What is the stuff that will break your chain? And the accepted thinking is breaking your chain will result in resetting your shiny encounter odds. Firstly, wild random encounters will break your chain, so make sure to have a big stack of super or max repels to make sure that when you're sneaking through the grass to your target Pokemon, you don't accidentally trigger a random encounter. The second one, and this is where I failed repeatedly on my Skarmory hunt, accidentally scaring the Pokemon away while trying to sneak up on it. You must creep up on it, don't run up to it, don't walk up to it even. Be really careful on that circle pad. Sneak, sneak, sneak. My problem was a combination of the slightly unnatural grip I had on my 3DS thanks to my MacGyvered streaming setup, and partly because I kept getting distracted by talking to the Twitch chat people when I should have been concentrating on the most vital part of the sneak-up approach, and also a bit of thumb fatigue after such a long hunt. Anyway, other things that will break your chain are leaving the route. So stay put until you are successful or you accidentally break your chain. Then you can feel free to leave, go heal up and whatever, and then come back and start again. You must capture or defeat every encounter. If you run or if the Pokemon flees, your chain will be broken. So if you're hunting something like an Abra with teleport, who usually runs away in the first move, make sure you've got an ability or an item that will trap him there. Also, you must encounter every Pokemon that DexNav reveals to you. If you ignore it, or if you take too long to sneak up on it and it goes away, your chain is broken, you're starting again. Sometimes the DexNav won't be able to locate your specific target Pokemon, but do not panic if this happens. Just walk in little circles in an open patch away from the grass until the DexNav finds something, anything. Even if what it finds is not your target species, go ahead, sneak up, battle it, or defeat it, capture it, whatever, then resume your normal DexNav search. Your chain will remain unbroken so long as it's a DexNav encounter and not a random, you're fine. It's also helpful to carefully pick your hunting spot. I like to pick a place with a sort of medium-sized patch of grass with a nice open area next to it, trigger the search from the open area, and that makes things easier for sneaking up and making sure you can get to it in time and all that. But that really is all there is to it. You can feel free to use items on your Pokemon to heal them up or restore PP points so you can keep battling. You can use O-powers. That's all fine. None of that will break your chain. You can reorganize your team. You can switch them around. None of that will break your chain. Some other tips include filling up your team with higher level sweepers to quickly deal with all the unwanted Pokemon as you hunt. Something that a one-hit KO on will be really handy, make things go nice and smooth and quick as possible. And of course, it'll help you out massively if you have a trained up capture specialist Pokemon with false swipe, of course, so you don't accidentally faint your shiny when you finally find one. For example, my capture specialist is a Gallade I specifically built up to be a catcher for me. I started by DexNav hunting a Routes that had the comparatively rare egg move of Mean Look to prevent escapes. It had to be male because I wanted him to evolve into a Gallade because Gallade has a very high attack. Then I gave him Thunder Wave for a 100% paralyzing move to help increase the capture rate odds and to prevent the target Pokemon fighting back too much while I throw Pokeballs at it. And of course, False Swipe to make sure I can get it down to 1 HP without killing it reliably. He's also got Psychic on there just in case he ever actually needs to do some actual lethal damage. There are several options for very effective capture specialist Pokemon. Have a Google for it, you'll find about a dozen or so quite effective options, but this Gallade setup has been easily one of the most effective that I've tried over the years. So, don't forget, lots of Super Repels, you don't want random encounters, and of course lots of Pokeballs so you don't run out when you're trying to catch a shiny if you're catching something with a particularly low capture rate, or you sometimes come across very interesting Pokemon with interesting movesets or perfect LVs or whatever, you might want to capture those instead of killing them off. You will also need lots of patience and dedication, of course, and a little bit of focus so you don't accidentally screw up, like I did, repeatedly. There are other shiny hunting methods, by the way, specific ones for chain fishing, cave or horde encounters. Even breeding a specific way can boost your shiny odds from an egg. For now, though, I just wanted to cover DexNav Shiny because it's new and because it's what I've just had direct experience and success with trying. Shiny hunting can, of course, by its nature be repetitive, even tedious, but it's not particularly tricky and it's not particularly difficult once you know what you're doing. You can do it while chatting, you can do it while watching TV or whatever, but as potentially tedious as it can be, trust me when I say the rush when you're finally successful feels pretty damn good. It's also not too demanding on concentration levels, which makes it easy to Twitch stream with, leaving lots of opportunity to interact directly with chat. And yes, I do intend to live Twitch stream future shiny hunting expeditions, and I've already got a list of my next targets. I think I'm becoming an official shiny hunter. So follow me there on Twitch if you're interested, link is in the description of course, and if you're watching this within a few hours of it actually going live, I just got the Eon ticket today, so I think I'll stream my quest to the Southern Island to go capture Latias later today. So if you're interested in hanging out with me on Twitch while I hunt for this little legendary, you know the link. Anyway, hope this has been helpful, or at least interesting. I am Blunty, thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.